You're listening to Grain of Salt, a podcast hosted by Donnie Burtless and Chris Seishu, covering the Buffalo Niagara region's food and drink scene. Today's episode features Matt Buffalo Brewhound Kresconko, the beer reviewer for Buffalo.com and the content manager and co-founder of WNY Craft Beer Magazine. Matt joined Donnie for a conversation about his past as a blogger, Buffalo's local beer scene, and how he fell in love with craft beer.
I first found out about you with your blog, Buffalo Brewhound, right? Through Brad Rowell, who I know you're good friends with, and I kind of got to know through the whole food scene. And he was like, I think he like reposted one of your posts, and I was super hooked, like right off the bat. Like I thought you had a really unique like writing voice for writing about beer that like it didn't seem pretentious because like craft beer nerdery can get a little preachy.
Yeah.
But it seemed like you had like a really just like relaxed vibe about it.
That was my whole idea. Was I have no professional writing experience.
Same here.
I mean, I love beer. I knew I had something I wanted to say about it.
Yeah.
It started out as just kind of like, wasn't really reviews. It was more just like my random thoughts I had on beer.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
almost like putting them into, instead of just writing them out and leaving them on my computer in like a Word
yeah,
folder.
like an ever-growing Word document.
Yeah. I was just kind of sharing them, and the people that started reading them were just my friends, and kind of just grew from there. They just reposting stuff on Facebook and Twitter. And,
yeah.
Pretty soon, like people were responding and sending emails, and realized like people are actually reading what I'm writing, and this is kind of weird because
it's almost it's like a scary thought at one point, because like I think there's a freedom of writing something and thinking like no one's reading this, I can just write whatever I want, but then like actually getting feedback like, oh god, like
yeah, exactly, yeah,
strangers reading this.
The first like couple emails from just random people, I was just kind of blown away. That's like I guess I'm not the guy that really comments on stuff too often, so to get like a actual like email like asking questions and giving feedback was pretty cool, and it was just a realization that people want to read about beer. And I think when I started it, I mean there was a lot less of it going on.
When was the blog like that?
Beginning of 2013.
Okay,
so, I mean it's not that long ago.
Yeah, no.
But even so,
compared to now, it's
2013. No, 2012. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, 2012. Yeah, so, I mean, then to now, I mean, Buffalo's beer scene is completely different.
Yeah, I mean, the opening of BuffaloBrewhound.com, which, if anybody's listening, like, I don't really haven't posted anything on there.
No, I actually just looked it up today.
Because all of my ramblings and postings are on WNYCraftBeer.com now.
It's a good archive, though.
Yeah, I know. I got to keep it going, and I should just repost everything onto there, too. But kind of the opening with that was almost in jive with like CBW's opening.
Okay, yeah.
So it was almost like from the time that the blog started to now, it's crazy the changes. It's like it's just a completely different landscape.
Our booze scene in general, I think, has really grown, especially with like cocktail bars and now distilleries opening. But the beer scene, I mean, literally, it was just Flying Bison and kind of Ellicottville, if you wanted to like include that into scene, and like maybe Pearl Street. Mm-hmm. But now it's just like, it just seems like every like 3 months I'm hearing about somebody else who wants to open up a brewery or like something like that. It's insane.
Mean, it's definitely blown up, and the amount of places to drink good beer now is just insane.
Yeah.
Like,
Mike Schatzel's slowly taking over Western New York.
He's got a stronghold on some awesome bars for sure. But I mean, there's others out there too. That are
even like a place like Ballyhoo,
fantastic,
which has like maybe 10 or 12 taps, but like really really good taps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the things starting Brewhound. One of my ideas was because there was at that time like there was just not as many places to get a reliable, great tap list.
Yeah.
And one of my ideas was, like I wanted to archive where you can go. Like I had all these ideas. I never actually did, like best like casual dining to better restaurants to barbecue places to whatever.
Yeah,
and just kind of have it all rated out, and it's just become too crazy. You can't even keep, you can't keep track, and there's too many places to even
exactly.
I mean, you could come up with an archive, but
yeah,
it's just different now. I mean, you can go anywhere and you can get a good beer almost.
It's crazy when like if you'll see like Schatzel will do like a special beer night, and I'll put like something on tap that's like really popular, and like by the end of the night it's already gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
Like I can't remember another time in my drinking craft beer history where like there was that much of a rabid fever for like really good craft beer.
Yeah, and that's actually sometimes I find it annoying because with my day job, a lot of times I work till 9.
Yeah,
and I'll get home and I'll just be like checking Twitter or Untappd to see are people still checking into this? Is this still on?
Yeah,
trying to get in touch with somebody that was down there to find out. Like,
exactly.
Is it worth my while to go down there? Because it's probably gone at this point.
Yeah, you don't want to make the drive into the city and then it's all gone.
Even though there's going to be good stuff on tap too,
exactly,
but
sometimes if there's like a destination style beer, like you want to make sure it's there.
It's usually gone.
Yeah. So what was your like start into the whole craft beer? Like what got you hooked initially into this whole scene?
I really got into it. I went to school in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to Duquesne for 6 years, and bar down there called Fatheads.
Okay.
Ahead of its time, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
Now they have the brewery in Cleveland. They've got a bar out in Portland now.
Oh, wow.
But when they started, it was just a bar in Pittsburgh, and just an awesome craft beer bar. Always had 2 cask options and 30 different taps, like 30 whatever. But a lot of stuff that I had never had before that wasn't available in Western New York yet, and kind of the first time that I really got into IPAs, pale ales, and as a college student, I didn't have a ton of money.
Yeah.
But me and my roommates would make it a point to get in there at least every couple weeks and just try all the different stuff. And that's kind of like where it all started for me, I guess.
Well, I mean, was there any like reason to start? Like, was there like the gateway beer that like?
I mean, I always have veered towards
better beer.
Better, if I can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
like you weren't drinking the Natty Ice in college?
Only if absolutely necessary. Only if absolutely necessary. I was a Rolling Rock guy when I wasn't drinking craft beer.
Makes sense, yeah.
In Pittsburgh, it was Rolling Rock and Yuengling is technically craft. So
yeah,
I mean
that's kind of weird, but yeah.
I was bringing Yuengling home for my father before it was available here.
Our grandfather worked for Yuengling, and he was one of the people who helped introduce it to Western New York. And so like he like came over one day and had like all this like Yuengling, and I was like, what the hell is that? And that beer is a pretty good like large scale beer that's produced.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
And on tap, I think it's really, really good.
Yeah. No, it's a great beer, and I'd say we drank more of that than anything. But I mean, as far as like gateway beers at Fatheads, Dogfish 60 Minute is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
And the beer really doesn't get as much love these days. It's a beer from a different period almost.
Yeah.
Even though it's a great selling beer and it's still delicious. I just had one last week.
Yeah.
But it's different. It's just not that big, like just a huge tropical or citrusy nose on it.
Exactly.
It's a little more subtle, but at the time it was completely.
Oh yeah.
2004. It was a pretty legit, awesome IPA, and I was interested.
It's crazy because my entry was working at Consumers. Okay. I was like a 21-year-old kid, and I had to have like a summer job, so I just worked at Consumers for like 3 months. And me and the other guys there, we decided every payday we would just each of us buy a 6-pack, and then each of us would split it all up. So every other week we tried like 3 new beers, and like we went through basically like 100 in a summer. And
that's an awesome way to do it.
Yeah. It was a lot of like, I just need to try everything as quick as possible. But I remember this was 2005, I guess. And yeah, I like Dogfish Head was like crazy. Like the Dogfish Head was like the revolutionary, like they're throwing out these crazy flavors. And it's insane to see now 10 years later that it's really it's a standard, but I don't think people think of it as like, you know, like breaking new ground as they used to.
Yeah. I always will have like a special place in my heart for Dogfish Head. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know, I've made the trip there and visited the brewery and the brew pub and everything, and
that's
I
like
still like Sam's voice, the owner, like Sam Calogero, his voice in the Holy Crap. He's got like the right attitude.
Yeah,
and like his whole like rebuttal like about the whole Budweiser Super Bowl commercial was awesome.
Yeah,
like I think he really gets it, and he was at the forefront of the whole thing.
His show that they had very briefly on Discovery Channel. It was a great show. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they only did 5 episodes, but it was like I think one of the best shows to showcase craft beer.
Yeah, I mean he's
also
like a celebrity though. I mean, like, you know, he's just got that personality to be on that show and just
he sounds like I mean he's in Delaware, but he sounds like a surfer dude. That's probably enjoying today, which is 420, but he's a great personality to have is like one of the big craft beer people.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. And it's too bad. Like I feel sometimes I feel bad for them
that they're gonna get kind of lost in all this.
Yeah, and I think it's mainly from like the really hardcore beer geek.
Yeah,
is the one that just kind of shrugs them off.
Yeah.
And they shrug a lot of people off. It's just become the nature of the beast with 3,400, however many breweries are in the country. Like,
yeah. There was that article recently about like Jim Cook, or however you say it, or Coke or whatever, the Sam Adams guy, and how like he's like totally become like a non-factor in this craft beer revolution. Yeah. And he's all like upset about it. But
and they came out with that little line of IPAs, and from what they say in like some of those articles, he was kind of against that whole thing.
He's publicly said he doesn't like making them.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, if you think about it, they like really paved the way. But there is a sense where like people always want like a new, exciting, like crazy beer, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean that's part of the hobby. I think like you look at craft beer, like for people that are very into it to getting like pretty into it.
Yeah,
it's not just a beer that you're going out to have with your dinner. Like it's actually a hobby, and you're following like what's new and what's exciting and what breweries are popping up that people are really talking about.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can go too far.
Yes,
in my opinion. And I mean, I'm hypocritical.
I mean, we were just talking about making trips to Vermont.
Yeah. So I mean, I love to travel for beer. But I like to try, and I mean, I drink a lot of local.
Yeah.
I drink a lot of stuff that's available locally that's not made locally.
Yeah.
Like I'm not into that sect of people that is just if this didn't come via UPS in some kind of crazy concealed package or
some black market trading,
or I didn't travel for it, like it's not good enough for my lips. That's insane.
Yeah, it is.
I don't understand it, and
they want the untapped points or something.
Yeah, untapped is a whole nother thing that I'm a huge hypocrite of because I'm checked into like a ridiculous amount of beers, but sometimes it just annoys me so much like I can't take it.
Yeah,
it's become such a phenomenon with like you just want to taste so many different beers, check into them. Yeah. Some people's comments are just like they should be censored. It's almost like people do it for shock value. Like, this beer tastes like the dirt underneath my toenails run through a garden hose that sat out all winter and then mix it with dog piss. It's like, come on. It doesn't taste like that at all.
Yeah, there's no room for subtlety on the internet. Like, people are all or nothing. But, I mean, I remember, like, when I was getting into craft beer in, like, 2005, 2006, there was like you were the outlier. Like I remember going to family parties and bringing like Hoegaarden, and people thinking like, "Oh, Mr. Fancy can't drink the blue light that we have here."
Yeah,
it seems like a lot of that's gone away. Like and now it's almost like we've gone too far.
Yeah,
in a weird way. I don't know. It's.
I don't think it's gone too far.
Not yet?
No, I think as long as there's good beer available,
yeah,
no, whatever it is, I feel like you go to a party, and if there's not like a decent beer available,
people,
I think that's like the outlier now.
Yes. Yeah.
And even like family parties. Like went to like brunch at my aunt's house for Easter, and like oh, go out to the fridge and get yourself a beer, and there's a Founders IPA, and there's a Southern Tier. Like there's like 4 different IPAs to choose from, and I'm like, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, that has come a long way. Now our aunt is stocked up her fridge every time we go, and now there's like at least like 4 or 6 packs of something that she like knows we all like to drink.
Yeah, and whether or not like these people are like, those guys always seem disappointed when there's only Budweiser here.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's that. I think it's just a change in drinking habits.
Yeah, I think. I mean, there's a lot to be said about the whole like foodie revolution that's happened in the last like 5 years plus, and I think beer has kind of hooked onto that because I think. Like, you look at the younger generations, like, if you go to Blue Monk or ABV, like, there's a lot of, like, 21-year-old kids paying $7 for a beer.
Right.
I don't think I would have seen that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like people are more, they want a better product. Like, they don't mind paying for something better. Yeah. Which is helpful because now we have all these places that don't mind serving it.
Right. And we were talking about kind of like mixing topics here, but I mean, it's an artisan product.
Yeah.
It's a better product than something that's mass produced.
Exactly.
So when you're looking at like a craft beer and then you're looking at like a macro beer, like to me, like, and this is one of like Garrett Oliver from Brooklyn Brewery's favorite sayings. It's like a loaf of bread from Elm Street versus a loaf of bread from Wonder Bread.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
It's just a different product.
Yeah.
You're willing to pay that extra $1 for better beer, better food. I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
have you, do you still feel like when you have a conversation about anyone with beer, or do you ever find yourself still explaining why you feel like you should drink better beer to people? Is that like, have you given up the fight with certain people that you're just like, it's not for you?
I would hope that I've never been. That's one of my things that I've actually enjoyed about like getting people into beer.
Yeah, like
friends that were always just the Coors Light guy, Corona guy.
Yeah,
and getting them switched over. That's like one of the most satisfying things I think in my entire life.
Yes.
One of the guys that I was just telling you about that was just up in Vermont last week. I mean, he was Coors Light, and you just couldn't shake him of it. Like there was no way. And for years, I felt like I never really pushed it.
Yeah.
Like, and I hope I'm like that with some other people. I'm still trying to like push, but not pushy. Just taste this.
Yeah.
Just taste this.
Yeah.
Like
trying to figure out their angle of like what would open their.
Do you like this? Like different style. Give them a different. Go from. All right, they don't like an IPA. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let them taste this porter.
Yeah.
Do you like it at all? Like what don't you like about it? Tell me what you don't like.
Yeah.
And I like people that I would like to take some credit for switching them over. I'm like so happy when they're like, they're just like a pig in shit, like coming back from Vermont with all this beer and like, try this. You got to taste this that we had up there. Like that's
awesome.
That's awesome to me.
Yeah, that's a great feeling.
So
I mean,
I should not take complete credit, but I'm taking a good amount of credit.
I mean, we felt the same way with food. People that we know that eat at, TGI Fridays every other week, and like introducing them to even some place like Elm Street or like Black Sheep, just something that like, if I can get somebody hooked on like a good local restaurant, like it'll make my day.
Yeah. It's satisfying.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you're sound like we're some kind of like
we're like recruiting people
here, like
we're recruiting people into this like club of ours.
Yeah. Oh, it's just it's good to see somebody enjoy better product and realize that it's worth you a little extra money.
When did you start like actually like traveling for beer, like like going around and actually trying to find like little breweries or whatever?
That was after college, just because
had
more money.
Yeah.
So, geez, probably right after. I mean, 2007.
Nice.
2006, 2007.
Yeah.
It's just, some trips would be based completely on breweries.
That's awesome.
And then some trips are just, all right, we're going here.
And you're looking up.
I'm just going to do as much research as I possibly can on where we should be going. Like even like, just finding like a really small brewery.
Yeah.
I think traveling for beer is a lot of fun. Sometimes it's over the top, but
like waiting in line for 90 minutes.
Yes. The line waiting can be excruciating, and one of my first posts on BuffaloBrewhound.com was about I made my wife get up super early and drive to Ithaca for it was a beer called Lay Blue, sour blueberry beer.
Wow!
And they were releasing it, and I didn't really think much that we were going to miss it. Like we got up nice and early, like we're going to get there like before the starts and everything, and we stopped and got breakfast in like Canandaigua.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I want to stop at this antique store." I'm like, "Oh yeah, we got plenty of time. Yeah, you're coming with me on like a 5-hour round trip just for some stupid beer."
Yeah.
So we stopped, and we end up getting there, and the line's so long. Like, we're not going to get this beer. We're not going to get this beer. Sure enough, we didn't get the beer, which has made me hate lines ever since.
I don't doubt it. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean the lines are it's crazy.
There was a point when we went up to Vermont. We were going to Prohibition Pig, and we were gonna have dinner. And there was that beer store right across the street, and so we were like, I'm just gonna stop in.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part was we were trying to find the area, and we were like, I don't know if we're in the right area. We went like some wrong street, and then all of a sudden I saw, no joke, like 3 cars that like parked, and out got like a white dude with a huge beard, and I was like, we're really close. Like, I was like, we're definitely really close to whoever this brewery. I immediately knew like we were in the right area.
Yeah,
but like lines are it's tough, and we did a 90-minute line for a case of Heady, or 2 cases of Heady.
Yeah,
and like the conversation with like the people waiting in line was a little too beer nerdy for me, and like my wife was just staring at me like, you owe me for waiting here right now.
Yeah, I mean that's you got to be pretty into it to take out, you're devoting your day to waiting in line to get a beer that, though it's delicious, isn't like, might not be to the normal person. It's not worth it to wait for something that's not like, it's better, but is it that much better?
Exactly. Every person I've told that story to, not only were shocked when I told them I waited 90 minutes, but then also were shocked when I was like, it was like $75 a case.
yeah, that on top of it too, right? I mean, it's
it takes a special person.
It does, and it's almost become too much.
Yeah,
to me, hypocritical again. I think a little bit. I do things that I think are over the top, but I know they're over the top, and I can admit it. I think.
Yeah, so you're okay with it.
Yeah. So I just wish it was a little bit different. I guess. Yeah. Like, not that it needs to be like this everywhere, but like some of these like ticketed releases for beers around the country. I mean, at least you're going to get it.
True.
Like you're not jumping in the car with the chance that you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
That was actually the first time that I ever went to Vermont to get Heady. We went to Montreal first, and I knew where we were going and knew we had to be here at this time, and we got stuck at bridge traffic, and I'm just like, I'm sweating bullets, just losing my mind. And
these are like really timed. Like you have to be at a certain place.
It's really weird. And I thought for sure we were going to get a divorce that day, because I was just, I don't care if I get arrested. Like, we just got to move this line. I get my head out the window. I'm screaming. Sure, but we got the Heady and we're still married. So.
That's fantastic. So, so you mentioned earlier the blog. You kind of you stopped writing in it last year, but because you helped launch the Western New York Craft Beer Magazine.
Yeah.
At what point did you think like that was like a thing that you like a natural progression? Like how did Western New York Craft Beer Magazine get going?
I didn't think it was a natural progression. I was it's two of my friends actually approached me one night. They said we want to meet, like they set it up like a business meeting, like friends that I would meet out of the bar, like we need to meet at this time. And I'm like, oh, you do meetings like this? It's kind of weird. Like, what's going on? Like, they wouldn't really tell me what. And then like we sat around and talked about it and said, I think there's a market for a magazine. Like, people like reading about craft beer, and
we have a big enough scene. For sure.
And we think what you're doing on the website is good enough that more people should maybe see it. And at the time, it was funny. It was in December, and I had said I was going to give up alcohol for that whole month. It's like the middle of the month, right? And they pitched this to me. I'm like, fuck it, give me a beer. Jesus, can't believe we're talking about this. We're going to start doing a magazine? And then I thought about it for a few days, and I was like, what the hell? Like, are we ever going to have the chance to do this again? I don't know. Maybe it's not going to work, but I think it's worth the risk, and we threw some money together and started it.
I was immediately when it was announced, I was like, this needs to happen. Yeah, because at that point, I mean, this is like obviously late 2000 or September 2014, like the first issue that came out.
First issue actually came out. Yeah, it was that was a summer. It was a summer issue, so it was June. Okay, end of June.
and like when I saw it, and I mean, I think you reached out before it came out because you were kind of talking about it. And
because we had launched the blog itself in March, end of March, beginning of April.
Yeah,
leading up to the magazine.
Yeah, and it was something that completely made sense because at that point, I think a lot of places were being announced that hadn't opened yet, so it looked like there was going to be this onslaught of craft beer coming to Buffalo.
And that was I mean, when we first had told a couple of people about it, they're seasonal magazine, quarterly, and we're going to feature a brewery on the cover of each issue. And like, well, how long is that going to last? Like a year? I'm like, and I guess people didn't really understand like what was going on.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, I mean,
you got plenty of
breweries. There's going to be more that open, and there's no shortage.
Yeah. How was the actual process of getting it all?
It was
started?
Actually a lot of fun. There's 5 of us that are involved. The main cog behind the whole thing, Matt Davison, is a supremely intelligent guy. He's one of the smartest guys I think I know.
Nice. Good to have one of those guys.
And he knows a lot about a lot of stuff. He just has his own public relations company that I think today was just bought out by the Martin Group.
Oh wow!
I don't really know the details on it, so I should really talk about it. But just really, really, really bright guy and knows a lot of stuff, a lot of people. And
nice.
My other buddy works for M&T Bank, and he kind of runs operations behind the whole thing and helps with sales. And then 2 of the other guys own the copy store at Court and Franklin.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Chris and Fran Reardon, and they, can't start a magazine if you don't know anything about printing or designing the thing.
Yeah.
Which I have absolutely no clue about.
Yeah.
So they hooked us up with our designer, and they handle all the printing and distribution. So it's a 5-headed beast that.
It seems like it's done really well.
That works. I mean, we're over a year old now, and it's working well. And I handle most of the content.
That's cool.
And getting stuff on the website and lining up articles for the magazine. We've got some pretty legit writers, I think, in the magazine as well.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the writing. Like, I think it's been really well done.
Devin Karn has written our feature articles, and I mean, she's written for. She actually lived in Vermont. She wrote for Edible Vermont.
Oh, nice.
She writes for Buffalo Magazine, Spree, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Freelance writer, and her stuff has been awesome. And then Michael Farrell is he's a music writer for the news.
Yeah.
But he does stuff for Spree and Block Club and whatever. A lot of writing, and his articles have been awesome too. So
that's really cool.
It's not like it's just some idiot named Buffalo Brewhound that posts some of his articles in there.
Like I like that you still go by Buffalo Brewhound.
I like to keep some kind of a, I guess, veil over my name.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think you've.
It's an anonymity, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, yeah, because I had no idea what your name. I think I had to ask Brad when you did your Buffalo Foodie article. I think I had to ask Brad like what your name was or something like that because like I didn't know. No, but I think the first thing that I noticed was how professional it looked. That the actual design and everything. Like when I got my hands on the first issue, I was like immediately impressed because I mean obviously it's free. That. So you kind of expect the art voice like kind of paper like thing that you'd see out of gyms. Like you kind of assume that it's not like a tangible thing you can hold in your hand for a long time.
Yeah.
But it's like a book. Like it feels like an actual real literature product. So
yeah, and I hope like our thinking behind the whole thing is you want to be comfortable reading it. But there's also something to be said about like being seen like with what you're reading.
Yeah.
Like it's just a nice, compact.
Yeah.
Pick it up at a bar and be comfortable to sit, at Resurgence at the bar and read articles and not just have a newspaper sprawled out in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah. And something that won't like fall apart that you can actually bring home with you.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, and I think if anybody pays as much attention to it as we do, I think the quality of it has actually went up in the last 2 issues than the first 2.
Oh, really?
You can tell in the brightness of the graphics and
just
nice. The clearness. We've adjusted and actually went to a different printer at one point.
Nice.
Even though it looks the same, it's actually if you compare issues, you can tell the difference.
Nice. Yeah. The little stuff that'll
I guess, that stuff like picks at you. So
yeah.
You're just constantly always just like, why, how can we make this look better?
Exactly. Yeah. You've kind of even in further incorporate yourself in the local beer scene because you also do reviews for Buffalo.com or the Gusto, I guess, whatever.
Yeah.
How has that been to have an actual critique of? Because I mean, like you said, like you weren't really writing reviews with your blog. You were kind of just almost like I don't want to say like a journal, but just like a free flowing post.
Yeah.
How has it been trying to transition to that role and actually use that critical lens?
I've enjoyed it. I almost look at that part of my writing as trying to like educate.
Okay.
If you read a lot of my Buffalo.com posts, I talk a lot about different styles.
Okay.
Or so far I have.
Yeah.
I'm not just reviewing every IPA and every pale ale, whatever the hottest beers in the area might be.
Yeah.
I'm reviewing different styles that I think are a great representation of that style and maybe why you should be or why people should be drinking that at this time or why you should go out and taste this because a lot of times it might be a beer that you might just bypass on the chalkboard. And that was, the last one I wrote was about Resurgence's Schwartz beer, which a lot of people don't really know what a Schwartz beer is. Like it's not a big thing in craft brewing.
No.
But to me, I actually, I've been like harping on it for a while. For some reason, I just think it's like the perfect spring beer. Like it's
really?
Just, it's
I can't
light,
say I have a lot of
dark.
experience. Yeah.
So you get like that you get like some of the roasted coffee, but not over the top. It's not like it doesn't have that acrid nature to it. That's like a really roasty stout wood.
Yeah.
So it's a lager. So it finishes clean, crisp. Like there's nothing harsh about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always light in alcohol. So I guess as I'm educating here.
No, please.
That's what I've kind of looked to with the Buffalo.com posts, and it's definitely been different, and I get a lot of feedback from Andrew Glerno, and
that's good.
We go back and forth. He hates my picture taking sometimes, but you
gotta do what you gotta do.
And it's great to get feedback. Is not having any kind of experience really as a writer.
Yeah,
I mean, my college degree is in something that you probably write the least amount possible.
What is that?
To get a college degree.
What is that?
I'm a pharmacist.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you literally don't write.
Yeah.
Like you write like case plans and so like whatever patient care plans. Like you just you don't write full sentences.
I was gonna say I thought I was pretty bad with accounting, but I think you win with pharmacy.
It might be pretty close. And that's why I after getting out of college I realized I actually do love to write.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Oh, that's cool that you found an avenue to do it.
You know, you don't, I don't know if you realize that you enjoy it. Like, out of when you were in college.
Yeah, no, definitely not. No.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like, I actually like to write.
Yeah,
it's enjoyable.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, do you try to maintain a low key approach when you go? I mean, so we've seen that we've become kind of. I've been ingrained in the food industry now, I guess, a little bit since we started the blog, because you just start to meet people and stuff like that. How has your role been? Have you tried to kind of stay somewhat anonymous, or have you started to like get to know the brewers and things like that?
I know most of the local people.
Yeah.
Not in a way like it's not a relationship that I'm texting them or calling them to meet up for a beer.
Yeah, yeah.
But if I see them at their place or
or
out at a bar or a festival or something, I mean, we have a rapport and we'll chat. But it's it's not anything that that I'm like great friends with any of.
Yeah.
I think most of them realize that I'm writing about some of their beer and I don't think I've had an issue with it.
That's good.
I don't go into somewhere and say I'm going to write a review at all. Like I'm very I'm very non-discreet about that. I just order the beer. Like they might wonder why I'm taking a picture, but there's a lot of jackasses taking pictures.
Exactly. Yes.
Of beer and putting them on tap. So I'm like, and I do that too. So hypocritical. Yeah.
And luckily, Instagram is a thing, so everyone's taking pictures constantly, so you can kind of blend in.
Yeah. I mean, that's my Instagram profile is completely beer pictures with like mix of like a half dozen dog pictures on there. The Brewhound itself.
Yeah. Fair enough. So since you started the blog, I mean, obviously the brewery scene has just by sheer number expanded. How have you seen? Because a lot of these breweries now have had like several runs of beers or trying new things. How do you feel Buffalo's beer scene is like? Do you think it's gotten stronger over the years? I know, like, in my opinion, Community Beer Works is like just has been lights out since almost they started. Like a lot of the stuff they do really is hit and it's tasted amazing. And I think like a lot of their beers hold up nationally. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about like the other ones that have kind of come in? Like, do you feel like there's a lot of other promise going on with those places?
Yeah, no, I do think there's quite a bit of promise. I think Community Beer Works has, and I mean, as expected, I think they've gotten better.
Yeah.
And not as being too critical, but I think at first they were a little inconsistent.
Yeah.
With some of the beers, like sometimes it just you'd go and get a growler of the IPA and 3 weeks later, like it might
taste completely different.
Taste a little different, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's completely natural.
Yeah,
And I mean, that's the same thing with, like it's not like these guys are coming up with these recipes and that's the beer.
Exactly.
Like there's tweaking that's going on. And,
yes.
And I was just talking about this the other night with somebody at Resurgence. Like that IPA at Resurgence, if you went in there, they haven't even been open a year, but if you went in there when they first opened, it's a different beer now. And
really?
It's delicious.
Oh, damn.
I mean, it's a great IPA. I mean, there's always going to be room for improvement.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just with anything, but I think there's definitely a lot of promise. I mean, new places opening. Rusty Nickel just opened.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been out there yet. I haven't really tried any of their stuff.
Yeah, they've had some. The beers that they've released so far have been a little off the wall, but
really?
Resurgence does some beers off the wall too. I mean, they have like orange creamsicle beer, and there's like there's a chai stout, an oatmeal cookie. Beer,
oh wow!
And, yeah, so mixing in some different stuff, not your just regular brown ale, IPA, whatever.
Yeah. You know what? The one I was really impressed with was Gene McCarthy's, where like. I mean, we went there because we had to write a piece about fish fries. So I was like, well, I've heard their fish fry is good. Let's just go. Yeah. And I just like haphazardly ordered a beer. And I was like, whoa, like
Yeah,
I was like really taken back how good. Like I think it was the Hopster Ale or something like that. Like I was just really impressed.
I've been going to McCarthy's for a long time. Before they started the brewery, their beer list was always phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that you couldn't get at other places, just randomly. Like you just stop in there and you wouldn't know what to expect. But their beers, I mean, that was my first Buffalo.com. My first Gusto review is when Andrew asked me to write one. It's like, I have to tell people about This Is Not a Pale Ale because this beer is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And it's gotten even better since then. Like, I almost want to write another one about
like
it.
a part 2?
Yeah. Because, and I think that's completely feasible because it's actually gotten better.
Yeah.
And sometimes they've been doing some casks with grapefruit in it, not a pale ale. But that beer is phenomenal. The Hopster is really good. And they do a lot of lagers too.
Yeah.
Which a lot of places right now aren't.
Yeah,
doing as many, so
it's definitely a very IPA heavy. I mean, craft beer in general, I guess, is IPA heavy.
But they've had some really good stuff, and the thing that, I mean, they're not distributing it out all that often. Like, it's pretty rare to see it at a bar.
Yeah,
so
I think I've seen it like consumers like very like few.
Yeah,
times.
they've done some growler fills. I know Brick Oven in South Buffalo.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah, I know South Buffalo connection there, but
probably.
they've had some stuff on. Brad's actually had a couple beers on at Elm Street.
Nice.
But yeah, no, that's for people that haven't been to McCarthy's. Like you got to go down and taste This Is Not a Pale Ale.
I just love it. I mean, my family has like some South Buffalo roots, so like going to that area and having like a really good meal because their pub food is really on point.
Yeah, and
then the beer is just so good. I was like. I was in heaven. I was in like the first ward having like this experience.
I love the vibe in there too. It's a cool vibe. It's very just unpretentious.
Yes.
I mean, probably half to more than half of the people there are not drinking the beer that they're actually making. They've been going there for the last 40 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
And drinking their Canadian or their blue, and
or having
that's
their
fine.
vodka tonic.
And I think the last time I was there, I was sitting next to a guy that was drinking Miller Lite with ice in it, and it's just like,
oh God,
like, you want me to just hook you up to an IV with water, bro? Like, what's going on here? What is this?
Miller.
But
first ward.
It's a great vibe in there.
It is
the slanted bar, like
you
just put something on there, it's just gonna roll right off. And their beer garden's awesome too. I love hanging out in the beer garden.
Yeah, especially now.
It's definitely a place to.
I love it. That's now my favorite place to take people for the first time.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will be like, yeah, let's go to G. McCarthy's. And then as we're driving, they're like, where the hell are we going?
Yeah.
And then when we arrive, it's like, oh, wow. Like, this is here? I was like, yeah, this is here, man.
Well, I mean, I'm a South Towns guy too. So coming from Hamburg, like it's pretty natural just to go there.
Yeah.
Before you hit downtown.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Good one stop. I think we covered a lot. What are your goals for what you'd like to see in Buffalo's beer scene? Like where do you think we have room to keep growing and to get better? Maybe to get on like a national register of like Buffalo is a good beer town that you should like people would visit us essentially, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely room for more breweries.
Yeah.
And I think we'll get to the point where pretty much I think right now it's like there's a hunger for beer in the area that you could probably open a brewery and be semi-successful
just because you're opening a brewery.
I feel like it's almost like that big right now. And I think we need more places, and eventually like I think as more places open, maybe like some of them won't pan out.
Yeah.
But that'll only enhance the scene to make it a better place. I mean, I think as far as just the local scene in general,
I mean,
we need to have maybe bigger distribution, and that's going to come with growth.
Yeah.
So
do you think
it just takes time? I think.
Do you think there's a little bit of a hindrance because all of these places are just doing draft? Like, do you think we need to have essentially like, I mean, I know Resurgence did the one bottling line of their stout.
Yeah.
But like, do you think we need Community Beer Works to have cans that like people would line up and wait an hour for or something like that? Like, I mean, most of the places I've traveled, it's been a place where you could buy a bottle or a can. Like, do you think that's kind of halting people from, or from maybe expanding it? I guess
it could be, but I think that's just the whole thing with growth. So
yeah,
I mean, to buy a bottling line is
I mean, it's not cheap.
Insane.
I know there's the mobile canneries, but those are still not cheap.
Yeah, still not cheap. From what I understand, there will be a crowler machine in the area very soon, which is awesome technology. Pretty awesome. If you've ever seen it.
I have not, but
It's a 32-ounce can. Just a regular ball, 32-ounce can. No top on. You fill it like a growler. There's this crazy spinning machine right at the bar. You fill it up, seal that up, and it's just a 32-ounce can.
Oh, my God.
Perfect for, concert, beach.
This sounds like the greatest thing ever.
It really is. I mean, they're recyclable. It's, you don't have to keep your glass growler clean. You don't have to bring your glass growler around with you. I mean, I've been to 3 breweries in the country that have them, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about.
It keeps it relatively pretty fresh too, or?
Yeah. Oh, definitely more than a growler.
Wow.
And I mean,
well, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have a better seal. You're keeping less oxygen out, and you're completely shielding it from the sun.
I'm so excited for
this. Like, it just, I mean, you have a 32-ounce can, you bring that thing golfing, like whatever. I mean, that's coming, and that's going to be awesome.
I think that will help a lot.
Like you said, as far as, getting cans and bottles out, I think that is key.
Yeah. You want those nerds to have us ship things over across the country.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. But like we said, I mean, Buffalo's behind the times a little bit with the beer.
Okay.
And we're quickly catching up.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is like not even like a 2-year thing, and it's already like huge.
I know, we're only like a really barely year 2 of this whole thing.
So I mean, like if you went somewhere else like 3-4 years ago, like it was a completely different scene. That's just continued to grow, and I'm confident that some of these guys that are open right now are going to continue that, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger, and when that happens, then smaller guys open, and you can remain small and still be supremely successful.
It's exciting.
It's exciting, extremely exciting.
Yeah, and it's a very very good time to start a beer magazine.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming down. It's been awesome to meet you, and I've always enjoyed your work, and keep up the great work with Western New York Craft Beer.
I appreciate it,
because you guys are doing a killer job in spreading the gospel of craft beer.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man.